there's a lot more to going on a successful diet journey than simply following a set of pre-designed rules to have your success. A lot of people make it sound like, including unfortunately a lot of so-called influencers, whether they have medical degrees or are trained coaches or whatnot, will tell you that if you simply follow a set of guidelines, you will have all the success in the world doing your diet. And here's the thing. You can name any diet out there, and if you're trying to lose weight, lose excess body fat, you can get there. A lot of them are easier than others. That's true. But the key element to a successful diet that no one wants to talk about is mindset. You have to get your head in the game. And how do you do that? It's not the easiest thing in the world. If you do a simple Google search for how to get into a dietary mindset, how to get into a weight loss mindset, you're going to find about 1,000 different answers from people. I can tell you that this whole year has been very rough. 2023 has been rough for a lot of people, and it has been for me. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that a tornado hit my town, damaged my house. Still hasn't been fixed yet, by the way. Thank you, insurance company. And it's just been very rough. Plus, the economy is down, and I've been stressed and have a lot of weight gain from stress. And I, followed more conventional rules for dieting in this space, and I blew up like a balloon. And it was getting pretty bad, to the point where I was starting to feel like I wasn't going to be around for much longer if I didn't correct things. And something snapped. It happened after I got sick this most recent time, where I had eaten some undercooked chicken at some restaurant probably, or had food handled by somebody who had been handling raw chicken, without changing their gloves before touching my food. I don't know exactly what the cause was, but after I healed from that, after I recovered, something inside me snapped. I have returned to my unorthodox way of doing this animal-based approach. I do consume a little bit of yogurt now. I bought some of this stuff here, a picture over my shoulder. Not the best stuff, obviously. It would be better if I could get my hands on raw yogurt, but I can't find it. There is none. It's not legal to sell in my state. And in my state, you have to buy it direct from the farms, and the farms all have multi-month waiting lists. So this is the best stuff available. If you know of a commercially viable brand that is sold nationally, that's better than this one, especially having low amount of carbs, let me know. I'll entertain a better one. This has like carrageenan and another junk in it. One of the things I noticed, though, is that I'm just having a couple times a week this stuff. It's helping heal my gut. But I'm doing my classic way of losing weight on a ketogenic diet. It's simple. Track macros. Restrict how much I eat. Exercise regularly. Avoid processed foods. And guess what happened? The weight has started coming off. That's my primary goal in all of this. But something snapped inside of me. And I think it was the fact that I got sick much worse than my kids did when we all got this problem that half of us got and half of us in the house didn't get. I got much more sick than they did. It was almost as if my body was telling me that from here on out, everything you deal with on a health level is going to be worse than anybody around you. And I took a look at my kids, and I'd like to be there, as their father, to make sure that they are there, that they, become adults and get all the formation they need, and I do all of the dad things with them that I'm supposed to do, that I'm there for them. Something inside of me snapped. So I'm going to throw a little bit of advice here to you on the how to get into the mindset thing. Because you're going to see a lot of kind of foofy self-help kind of advice out there, and from all these health and nutrition coaches out there when it comes to how to get in the mindset. I'm going to give you some very basic, practical advice here. Every single person, even the most lonely person who is unmarried, would like to be married, or is not in a relationship, would very much like to be in a relationship, who spends most of their time at home, even you, everybody has people who rely on you, who not only will they miss you and they will mourn you if you are not around, that your present state of less than ideal health is actually bringing them down. They probably don't realize it, but there are things that you would be able to go out and do with them, or that you might not be able to go and do with them in the future if you don't turn the ship around. You've got to get this up. You've got to take care of this. As much as, our culture likes to tell us that we're essentially atomized, isolated people, totally independent from one another. Most people know this, actually not true. We all do rely on each other to some degree or another. It's as simple as that. If you need to get into the mindset, remember that there are other people out there who rely on you. You do rely on other people. And no, that's not a bad thing. That's why people talk about this stuff as like being in a carnivore tribe, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, there's no tribe. Well, there kind of is. That's why there's so many carnivore social media groups. That's why the carnivore YouTube space is so bloated with commentators now, despite the fact that it's a niche market. This is a niche. This is the niche of niche nutrition areas. It's just as on the ascension right now. It's why actually you've started seeing the suddenly people showing up who basically think they can do what Professor Bart K does with the reacting to other people's videos and tearing down their bad ideas, but without his scientific basis of knowledge, and people even trying to do that to him, which is hysterical to me. It's why you see that. It's because there is a community. People are connected to each other. As anybody will tell you who's tried to diet by themselves, and I'm using diet in the colloquial sense here, in the common misused term here, but anybody who's tried to do it by themselves without at least some modicum of support from the people in their lives, anybody who's tried that knows very well that that approach to a successful diet is much harder. For instance, my wife is, post-pregnancy, still not quite ready to go back to a full ketogenic diet simply because she's nursing. But she's now picked up some, mild intermittent fasting to help bring her weight back down. And it's having some positive effect. She has also knows that she needs to do something because she wants to be around for the kids too. The kids rely on her. They rely on me. We are all interconnected. There are people who, if I suddenly wasn't around anymore because of my health, there are people who rely on me for the work I do, which blows my mind, honestly, that they would be very upset and it would bring them down. I have to admit that, even if I don't want to. We all rely on other people. So if all the sort of the foofy advice you see from a lot of these diet coaches about how to get yourself in the game, if those don't work, if, visualizing where you want to be, guess what? I'll visualize where you want to be if you're carrying a bunch of extra weight. You want that scale to be at a certain number. Probably if you're a woman, you probably will have told yourself you want to be under 130 or 120 or 110 pounds, whatever it is for you. And for the guys, we all want it to be about 200 or maybe less if we're not that tall. But we all want to be fit. We all want to have a low body fat percentage. That's what everybody wants, right? At the end of the day. But visualizing that stuff's not going to do it. There are people who rely on you. And unfortunately, that might be the most effective way if you're not a narcissist. Because there are some people who are just driven by pure personal ego, who only think of themselves, who only think of themselves as these isolated people who don't need anybody else and all this stuff. It's not how life works, folks. You know that. I know that. And perhaps, just perhaps, the best way to get yourself in the mindset to have a successful diet is to visualize what the world would be like for those you care about and who care about you if you weren't there anymore. That might do it for you. And if not, think on the physical pain you've had from the consequences of the extra weight you've had. For instance, one of the things I can't do anymore is I like deadlifting at the gym. I do. I can't do it right now because the weight gain I've experienced this year from the consequences of the storm and following more conventional advice and all this other stuff and just being anxious, having anxiety about things, has been that an old muscle pull in my lower back now is just there. It won't go away. So I can't deadlift anymore. Anytime I do anything at the gym related to back work, I have to be careful. Lose enough weight, that won't be an issue anymore. And I can go back to doing the things I enjoy. So that's a goal. Not ready to give you a weight loss update yet, but it's looking good. I'm having a good time so far. And you'll know if you're in the dietary mindset if suddenly the prospect of going to the gym or going on a morning bike ride or walk or whatever it is you do for exercise, and please do something for exercise. We're not meant to be sedentary. If that prospect doesn't seem like a chore anymore, but something you look forward to. And even on days you don't want to do it, you still manage to easily motivate yourself to do it. You'll know you're in the diet mindset when all of a sudden things that you used to be tempted by no longer really tempt you. They become like this abstract, oh yeah, that tastes good, but I'm not going to eat it kind of thing. You're not tempted by it, even if you're walking through a grocery store and you see things that you shouldn't eat that you used to love and you really normally might have been tempted by it. If you're in the mindset, they're not that tempting anymore. In fact, it might be annoying to see. That's generally some of the ways you know when the eating plan becomes Not effortless, but much easier to do. What other ways, folks, do you know when you're in the carnivore mindset? When you're in the mindset for a successful diet? Let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So does sharing this on social media. That helps too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for your time.